In the Multitrack editor, you can 1. Add audio files tracks, 2. Mix them together, 3. Cut them up, 4. Move them around, and 5. Tweak their effects. All editing in Multitrack is done through a session file. Let's go ahead and make a new session. Click on File, then New, then on Multitrack Session. You can also just hit Ctrl and N. A dialog box pops up where you can enter details. Like before, be mindful of where you are saving this session. Navigate to the folder you would like to save to by clicking Browse Location. Make sure your sample rate is 48,000. Now we have our multi-track session. Each of these rows can accommodate an audio file. To add an audio file to your session, simply drag and drop the file like so. It may need to make a copy of the file to conform to your session's sample rate. You can zoom in and out of your audio session in 2 ways, either using the plus and minus keys on the keyboard or by holding Ctrl while scrolling on your mouse wheel. You will zoom in on wherever your red cursor is placed. There are different modes in Multitrack. These are shown in the toolbar at the top. Today we will show you the 3 main tools. First, we will start with the time selection tool. This is indicated by the cursor that looks like an eye. It allows us to click around the multitrack and move our cursor. From there, we can hit the space bar to play from that point. It also allows us to select portions of time or of audio, like so. And while in the time selection tool, you can also move our audio file within the session. Just hover your mouse at the very top of the audio file until the cursor changes. Now you can click and drag your audio file left or right to place it at a different point in the session. The shortcut to switch to the time selection tool is T. You can see that it is highlighted blue in our Tools menu. Next up is the Move tool. The shortcut to switch to the Move tool is V. You can see it is selected now in the Tools menu. Like it suggests, the Move allows you to move a file. In the Move tool, though, you can click anywhere on the track to move it. This can sometimes make editing easier. In this mode, though, you can't move your cursor by clicking in the multi-track session. And last up is the Razor tool. The shortcut for the Razor tool is R. When I click the Razor tool, my cursor changes to a small razor that allows me to cut my audio. Switch to the Razor tool by pressing R. Then hover over a portion of your audio, using the plus or minus button if needed. Click to separate your audio into 2 pieces. Now I can move around either of these pieces, and they move independently of each other. Once you are finished in Razor, we recommend you switch into the time selection mode. This prevents you from accidentally razoring files. In most circumstances, you will only want to razor one file at a time, Make sure to only hit the R shortcut once. Hitting R twice will enable Razor all tracks, which is also indicated by this cursor with multiple razors. This will razor all tracks into 2 pieces at this point in time. To switch out of razor all tracks, just hit R again. If you want to trim or extend the clip, hover the cursor over the edge of the clip until you get this red edge icon and drag it left or right. If you want to close a gap between 2 separate clips, use the Move tool, V shortcut, or the Time Selection tool, T shortcut, and drag one clip next to the other. You will see them line up perfectly when a blue line appears. When you click on a clip in the Multitrack editor, you will see boxes at the beginning and ending of a clip. These allow you to add fades into, at the beginning, or out of, at the end of a clip. Change the character of how these fades sound by their length and the nature of the fade's arc. The orange line controls the speed of the fade over time. The straight line is a linear fade because it fades evenly from beginning to end. You can crossfade 2 clips by overlapping separate clips through the Move tool. You can control the crossfade the same way as any other fade. You can extend the length of the fade or change the curve of the fade. This yellow line allows you to adjust the volume of a clip. To adjust the volume, click once on the yellow line to create a dot on the path. Then click on that dot and raise it up to increase level or down to decrease volume. You can also change up the volume throughout the track. To do so, click elsewhere on the yellow line to create a second dot. Then move that line up or down to increase or decrease the volume. This is how we play ambient sound underneath narration. This is also how we are able to play a music bed underneath another piece of audio. Be careful not to confuse the yellow volume line with the blue pan line. The default for the blue line is in the middle, allowing us to hear audio from our left and right speakers equally. Moving the line up shifts more of the audio to the left speaker. Moving the line down shifts more of the audio to the right speaker. We rarely want to adjust the pan line because we want listeners to hear audio out of both their left and right speakers. But if you would like to adjust your pan, you can adjust it by clicking to add a dot on the path and then adjusting that dot or dots. You can drag across files to select multiple pieces of audio. If you do that, then click and drag any of the selected pieces of audio, they will move together. When you click outside the selection will disappear. You can also make a group of clips. This is helpful for locking transitions in while editing elsewhere in the multitrack. You can group clips together by dragging across and selecting them. You can also hold down Control and click specific clips. Then hit Ctrl G on a Windows computer. You will notice they all become one color. And when you click on any clip that's part of a group, the clip group will move as a whole. To unmake the clip group, click anywhere in the clip group, then hit Ctrl and G again. Everything you do in the Multitrack editor is non-destructive. That means it is not editing any of the underlying pieces of audio. For example, even if I razor this track, it does not actually delete that from my audio. It only reflects that change in my session file. This is the essence of non-destructive editing. This is also why multitrack editing is dependent on the session file, which you can see in my files is labeled as a .sesx. This session file is essentially an instruction file for your computer, telling it how to manipulate the underlying audio. But the session file is just that, data, and it's only readable by Adobe Audition. This means that the session file alone is not playable. It needs to be linked to your audio. If you ever need to email your session file or upload it, make sure you also upload the corresponding audio that will allow you to open it elsewhere. That audio should be saved in your session folder. Saving your session file alone without corresponding audio is useless without the audio. Once your multitrack session is finalized, just the way you like it, you should export it back to a playable media format. That's MP3 or WAV. Exporting the multitrack essentially smooshes all of your audio and cues back into one audio file again. After finishing editing and mixing your session, you will export it back into one audio file. First, ensure your session is exactly how you want it to play, with no gaps or dangling audio files at the end. The final file that we export is called the mix down. Go to the File menu and select Export, Multitrack Mixdown, Entire Session. There will be another pop-up window. Make sure to enter a descriptive file name. Make sure you are saving to the correct folder, and click Browse to navigate to the correct location. Make sure your sample type is 48,000 Hz, and that your format setting are either MP3 with 320 kilobits per second or a WAV file. Then click OK. I hope this overview of Adobe Audition fundamentals has been helpful. There are many things that we haven't yet had the chance to explore together. In the next video, we will explore how to record using Adobe Audition in a variety of scenarios. For now, know that Audition is a very powerful software, and as you become comfortable with it and continue to explore it, you will learn new things that we haven't dealt with here. If there's something you want to do, but don't know how, ask. And you can also use Google. The makers of Audition, Adobe, have very robust step-by-step instructions online. There are also many different tutorials on YouTube and elsewhere. The key thing is to be unafraid, to try new things, make mistakes, and know when to ask for help. For WORT News, I've been your trainer, Alegría.